Hello, and in this video, we are going to talk about the sketch worksheet that goes with the stained glass watercolor landscape project. So the worksheet for this looks like this, and it says directions. Sketch the contour of 4 different landscapes. Remember that the contour is an outline of all of the important parts of the landscape. It does not include details. You can use your electronic device for ideas, meaning your Chromebook. Okay, so when we are coming up with an idea for what we want to do with our landscape, first we need to identify what are the different landscapes that you could Google search, okay? And I have this document right here, and it's just called List of Landscapes or Examples of Landscapes. So I've listed several different types of landscapes here. Just because I didn't put it on this list doesn't mean that you can't do it. But it does need to be a realistic landscape. So, if you're doing something from Minecraft, that's not going to work for this particular project. So some of the landscapes that I have listed are tundra, waterfall, forest, desert, plateau, jungle, ocean, mountains, coastal landscapes, plains, taiga, volcano, glacier, caves, scrubland, rainforest, woodland, and more. That's why I put that there. When we're talking about a landscape, we might need to define it a little bit. And I have this watercolor stained glass requirements. And I also have the vocabulary that goes with it on the same paper. So it says a landscape is a picture representing a view of natural scenery. And then an outline or a contour line are the external lines of a shape or a form. So these two things are what we are focusing on, number 1 and number 2, on the sketch worksheet. So the first thing I need to do is look at my list and just pick one of these. You may have to research a few before you find something that you may want to use for your landscape project, okay? Even though you are going to be using images off the internet, you are going to be distorting and changing the image enough that it's not going to be copyright, okay? So copyright laws are very unique in that if you change the image that you use enough, it's okay that you borrow the image from someone else. So in order to search, I'll open a new tab, and I want to go up to Google Images, which is on this right-hand side. And I'll pick one to start with. So let's say I start with mountains. So I type in mountains and a whole bunch of things come up. Now, when I'm looking at these can be very intimidating because they're so detailed. Keep in mind, if you're doing stained glass, it's not going to be this detailed. It's almost going to be like different shapes. So when you look at these, think what would look good with stained glass. Typically, images or pictures that have more color look better. It doesn't mean that you can't do something that only has 1 or 2 colors, but keep in mind with the watercolors I'm going to give you, there's only like 1 shade of blue or 1 shade of red, 1 shade of orange. You can mix, but I'm just kind of giving you a heads up. So any of these I could do. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick one, and I already picked one on my other page here. This is the one I'm going to try to sketch on my sketch worksheet. Now, you're going to have to do 4 different ones, so keep that in mind. All right, so I'm going to go to my document camera. I'm going to keep this pulled up, and I have this pulled up on my other computer. Let's see, where's my document camera? Okay. All right, so right here, I have started the first sketch. Now, I have labeled above what I did what the type of landscape that I drew. So on this one, it was a coastal landscape. And I drew just the basic outline of what it was. Basically, it had rocks here, or like mountain areas. It had a sandy beach right here that kind of curved around in the picture, and it had water here. I only need to do those basic outlines. I didn't need to do all of the shading and details and things like that. This is only an outline. So on my next one, since I'm doing mountains, I'll do mountains. Remember, you need to do 4 different ones on here. And then I would look back at my actual picture and I would start drawing. So typically when I am trying to figure out, I'll bump back to the other one. Let's see. When I am trying to figure out how to draw this or where to start, I'll look for one of the easiest lines. So here, usually the horizon line is the easiest to draw. So this line right here is what I'm going to start with. And I will build everything off of that. So I'm probably going to draw this line here first. Then I'm going to come around and I'm going to draw this line right here where this valley right here meets the mountain. Then I'll go ahead and draw the mountain, add a few trees, and then last but not least, the clouds. So I'm going to hop back over to my document camera here and I'm going to show you. So like I said, I'm going to draw, and your drawing may change a little bit when you go to the watercolor paper because the sizing of the sketch worksheet versus the proportions and sizing of the watercolor paper could be a little bit different. So keep that in mind. You may have to just alter it a little bit. All right, so I'm going to draw as best as I can the mountain here. Again, if it's a little different, nobody's really going to know if your sketch is different than the actual picture. So I think these are clouds back in the background, but I'm not sure. All right, now with the trees, instead of drawing individual trees, I think I'm going to make them more like look like they go together. And if I don't like this afterwards, like it's more looking like it's a tree or bush area here. If I don't like that, I can always change it at the end, okay? So I could just take that out completely if I didn't like it. All right, and then I'm gonna do some clouds here. Again, I'm just stylizing them. I'm doing a basic outline. I can change them, but you want it to look fairly decent before you decide which one you're gonna do. And I would like to see these before you go to the watercolor paper because there's only one watercolor paper per person. Okay, so there we go. So I got my mountain range and then I have my coastal landscape. Then I would look down the list of landscapes, find another one. Let's say I want to do tundra. I would write tundra and I would do the same thing. Again, there's no shading. There's not a ton of details. It's a pretty basic outline. You want to kind of remember, though, which picture you chose when you were searching. So you may even want to bookmark the page. Like I could bookmark this, and how you do that is you go up to the little star and you click on it, and then I would type in like landscape. And then what happens is when you click done, it goes to your bookmarks bar, and your bookmarks bar is right here when you click on this hidden bookmarks and all of them pop up. So a long time ago, I bookmarked this flower that I was doing for some other project and it's still there, okay? All right, if you have questions, please let me know. And I would like to see all 4 of these completed before you go to your project. Thanks.